That's right. Welcoming to Tuesday. Let's see what's going on. I see the chat room is really loaded right now. And the question is, Brewer Jim leading the chat. Greg was here early. Thank you, Greg. Eddie Heckman, of course, the great Eddie Heckman. We ask the question always, how's your dad? Mal Pal is here. I don't know, I guess you're done with Chicago. Merrill is here without the Mitchell. Robert C. has made it in. Good morning to you, Robert Seguil, Robert C. Rotorius is with us, and a cast of thousands. Okay, we expect sound is good. Thank you, Andrea Adorable. And we are ready for today. A new player may be entering the fantasy baseball realm. King Hapless is here. Good morning to the King. Please, if you're listening, if you can listen, call me after at some point, okay? Just call me some point. I got to talk to you about something. Okay, so that would be good. And if you could do that, that's great. And let's get on with it. And we start off with another sad note. Doug Jones, who had 62 saves in 2 seasons with the Astros, had a couple of more. So he had a 16-year career before he retired in the year 2000 with 303 saves across 7 teams. Breakout season was 1988. He owned a 2.27 ERA. 2 All-Stars, 2 All-Star that I remember, had a 43 save season. Lost his closing job to Steve Olin, but I'll tell you what, he passed away, and he didn't throw hard. His best pitch was a circle changeup. Came in 3 stages: slow, slower, and slowest. And he was one of those who got away with it. But he passed away through because of complications with the COVID. So we say, with all due respect, Doug Jones, great fantasy player, great baseball player, and from what I'm told, a tremendous person. Rest in peace, Doug Jones. Okay, DK Lucius joined us. Good morning to the DK. Nice to see you in the chat room. And there could be a flurry of activity. A flurry. All right, look out your window. There could be a flurry of activity leading up to the MLB lockout. We already see it. It could be a big-time flurry of activity. We will cover it every step of the way, including Thursday morning. We'll be here Thursday morning. I understand that we have the Thanksgiving, but we'll get it out of the way. Maybe a short podcast. We'll see, depending upon who wants to be here. Sound is okay, but low. Anybody else find it low? Okay? If the sound is okay but low, let's see if we could make the sound a little better. Okay? I don't know if I can do that. There you go. How's the sound now? If the sound is low, we just try to make it louder, and hopefully that accommodates the Chris Gallo walking around on one bad knee. Okay? Anyway, the Hall of Fame voting. And I'm not going to take anything away from King Hap if he's talking about it tonight. But A-Rod, Justin Morneau, Ryan Howard, Jimmy Rollins, Tim Lincecum, who at one point was considered among the best. Good morning to Stardog. All right, that's better. Chris Gallo says it's better. Thank you, Chris. Tim Lincecum was he was MLB's best pitcher. Jake Peavy, David Ortiz, and 17 others who have been on the ballot before. But here's the deal. I read off the names. We don't know about A-Rod. We don't know what the consensus will be on the steroids and on the all the other stuff. All right, but when we mention a player for the Hall of Fame, usually it's your first opinion. Sometimes there are some players you may have to think about, okay? For example, let's go over the new players. Justin Morneau, very good player, very, very good player, very good stats, but never did I ever think of him as the top first baseman. Now, Ryan Howard is someone who I would say, if his stats are good, every year, Ryan Howard is considered one of the best first basemen for a long period of time. Same thing with Jimmy Rollins as a shortstop. If his numbers meet the criteria for the Hall of Fame, I remember every year Jimmy Rollins was among the best. I won't say that about Tim Lincecum. He had a year or two. I won't say it about Jake Peavy. He was good. I know Andy might criticize David Ortiz, but those are the first-timers, okay? And by the way, Clemens, Schilling, and Sosa are in their final year of eligibility. So we'll see. But, of course, the great thing is that Prince Fielder and Cecil Fielder both finished with 319 home runs, okay? Jay Bruce, that's right. And Jay Bruce had 319 home runs. So we'll see how that works out. Bobby Abreu, Bonds. Abreu could be a fantasy Hall of Famer, but not an MLB Hall of Famer. Abreu put up some great numbers. But in Major League Baseball, he was not considered among the best outfielders. In fantasy baseball, he was. Todd Helton, I would say yes on Todd Helton based upon his numbers. Tim Hudson, no. Torrey Hunter, no. Andrew Jones, a possibility for Andrew Jones. I'd have to look at his numbers. Defensively, he was always one of the best. Jeff Kent as a second baseman, if you're going along those lines, yes. Then you got Joe Nathan, Morneau, Papelbon, Andy Pettit, Pierzynski. Manny Ramirez, for a period of time, he was considered the best hitter in Major League Baseball, especially right-handed hitter. So, I don't know, Scott Rowland. Scott Rowland was very good. It's about his numbers. He was always considered one of the best. But to be in the Hall of Fame, shouldn't you be the best? Same thing with Gary Sheffield, Mark Teixeira, I would say. Now, Billy Wagner had more strikeouts than Mariano Rivera or Trevor Hoffman, despite 300 fewer innings pitched than Rivera and about 150 or so innings pitched for Trevor Hoffman. So does anybody in the chat room believe that Billy Wagner has been getting screwed? Right? And all those guys are better than Harold Baines and Bill Mazeroski. Okay, so you definitely got me on that, Malpel, but that was a good take. All of them were better than Baines. That's right. Star Dog is here. Good morning to the Star Dog. So does anybody think Billy Wagner, who had more strikeouts, I'll repeat that, than Mariano Rivera and 300 fewer innings, he had more strikeouts than Trevor Hoffman and about 150 fewer innings? Look, I think Billy Wagner, he never played on really good teams, but Billy Wagner should be in the Hall of Fame. The player that's coming into fantasy baseball, okay, Balpal says Wagner changed the game, okay. A new player coming into Major League Baseball, but more important, fantasy baseball, and where's he going? I have two teams I'll talk about who, to me, are the front runners. Seiya Suzuki with the Mets. Michael Conforto officially hitting free agency, and there's a chance they soon lose a major piece of their outfield. They could probably go a lot of different routes to replace him, but Suzuki is intriguing. The Mets probably need outfield help. Per many reports, and I have never seen him play, Suzuki was going to be posted on Monday. I don't see an official report on them. The Mets are one of the teams who could be interested in him. Here are a few things that you want to know about Suzuki, okay? Certainly for fantasy baseball. Eddie Heckman says Mazeroski belongs in the Hall of Fame. Wow. Based on what? On his defense? I don't know. If that's the case, there are plenty of defensive players who belong in the Hall of Fame. But we'll get to that another time. That's an interesting argument, Eddie Heckman. Maybe you could argue about that on the round table, okay? And I know you don't agree, and that's okay, Eddie. It's okay. It really is. And you may be the only person I've ever met who didn't agree with me. But still, you know your stuff. You've been a Pirate fan, whatever you are. I respect that, Eddie. Suzuki had one heck of a season in 2021. He hit 38 home runs in 131 games. He's a right-handed power bat. The Mets could use him in the outfield with Conforto potentially leaving. And last year, Conforto had a down year at the plate. His defense improved, but the Mets need more offense. So when the Mets consider their outfield, they must think about adding a good bat. They simply can't fill the holes with defensive replacement type outfielders like they've tried to do in the past. Mitchell is here, sitting next to Merrill, and we are rocking and rolling. I will be here Thursday morning, okay? Just want to let you know, Thursday morning we'll be doing our thing. A great unholy Toledo. Good morning to you, sir. So Suzuki could receive the contract anywhere from 3 to 5 years and $7 to $10 million a year. Okay, they'll figure that out once his market develops. It'll cost them much less than Starling Marte or Nick Castellanos, and they could get Suzuki and one of those two guys. How about that? So, as far as a fantasy player goes, we're going to have to wait and see what he does when he gets a chance to face Major League pitching. Right off the top, I'm going to say with the hype that he's going to get, he's probably a $16 player. Right off the top. If you had to bid on him now, you'd probably have to go $16 to get him. Okay? Suzuki would have 30 days to negotiate a contract, even if there's a lockout. Okay? Even if there's a lockout. The other team that I really believe is in the mix, and it's going to be the Mariners. And if you go back to 1996, when Max Suzuki made his Major League debut, he became the third Japanese-born player to play in a Major League Baseball game, the first on an American League team. Since then, the Seattle Mariners have had a Japanese-born player on their roster every season, every year. Suzuki was the first. Then you had Kaz Sasaki. Then you had Shigetoshi Hashigawa. Then you had Masayo Kida. You had Ichiro Suzuki. You had Kenji Jojima. I'm great with these names, aren't I? Then you had Kawasaki, Awakuma again. So, you know, they've had a Japanese player. They had Nori Aoki, remember him? Then they had Kikuchi. Then they had Yoshihisa Hirano. So, unbelievable. So, we'll see what happens. We'll see if they continue. And with Kikuchi declining a $13 million player option for 2022, the Mariners' streak of having a Japanese player on the 40-man roster might come to an end. We'll see. What won't come to an end was the great chat room led by Greg, Jim Brewer Jim, TK Lush, all you guys doing a wonderful job, and I thank you for your support. Mitchell and Merrill, Unholy Toledo, waiting for White Sox Alan Zelmo, and then we can take a break. Okay, the Yankees, listen to this one. This is cool as hell. The Yankees franchise has a .570 win-loss percentage. They've won 10,503 games. All right? Anybody want to correct me on that? Unholy Toledo has seen all of them. They have 7,937 losses. That's a .570 one-loss percentage for their franchise. Now listen to this one. The Marlins and the Rockies have never finished a season with a .570 winning percentage or better. How about that? The Yankees franchise .570 won-and-loss winning percentage has never been touched in a single season by the Marlins and the Rockies. Where do you get that from? Pete Rose to the Hall of Fame. Okay. We knew there'd be one guy. Okay, Mitchell. We got you. On to some of the buzz now. We got the buzz. We got the Nuggets. We got the buzz. We got it all. The Philadelphia Phillies continue to separate themselves as the most aggressive suitor for Craig Kimbrell I'll tell you, there's going to be a lot of signings in the next week, so think about it. That's why we're doing a show on Thanksgiving morning. Now, the San Francisco Giants, absolutely not acting like a team that believes 2021 was an accident. No, they extended Crawford. They qualified Belt, okay? And they're on the brink of, they signed DeSclafani, and they're on the brink of signing Wood, a duo that combined in 57 starts last year with a 23-11 record with a 347. The Giants are not rolling over and said, we did it, and we're not going to take it easy. The San Francisco Giants are becoming a team, okay? The Giants are being aggressive, not because they're coming off a strong season and had a lot of money coming off the books, but Anthony DeSclafani represents the first dollars they have committed to the 2024 payroll. They have a lot of future payroll room. You got that? They got a lot. The Giants and the Texas Rangers, I believe, have the most payroll room for 2024. And when San Francisco did not give the qualifying offer, $18.4 million, to DeSclafani, it almost made it clear that they were going to sign him. All right? Otherwise, it made me wonder if they knew something about him that the industry didn't know. Obviously, the thing was they liked him, and they wanted to re-sign him, which they did for 3 years. So, not a surprise, okay? Eddie Heckman doing a great job. Okay, Eddie Heckman, all right, wrote a term paper about Bill Mazeroski. Get that paper and send it to me, Eddie Heckman. Are you kidding me? That sounds like a challenge. So anytime you want to go on the round table on a Monday night, we'll talk about Mazeroski, okay? San Francisco Giants have been incredibly aggressive to fill out their rotation, and when they before they signed DeSclafani, and now they're going to sign Alex Wood, the only pitcher in their rotation was Logan Webb. That was the only pitcher in their rotation. Okay? White Sox Gal is here, just as we predicted. Good morning to the wonderfully talented White Sox Gal. So it looks like we got a challenge by Eddie Heckman. We accept the challenge. He likes Mazeroski in the Hall of Fame. I don't. We'll see how that works out. Alex Wood is close to a deal with the Giants. Okay, that should happen pretty soon. They got a $36 million deal with DeSclafani. He's 31. He thrived last year. He'll receive $12 million a year on a 3-year contract. And the Giants DFA'd Alex Dickerson to make room on the roster. And also, according to Susan Slusser, it sounds like the Giants are making a strong push for Alex Cobb. So a rotation of DeSclafani, Wood, Logan Webb, Alex Cobb. Giants think they can do it again in arguably one of the toughest divisions ever. Making a strong push. Now, Toronto, they secured a big piece of their future by recently locking up Jose Berrios. Long-term deal, $131 million investment. That's U.S. money. But they had a glaring immediate need in the rotation, okay? During the final 2 months of 2021, Toronto possessed one of the top starting pitching staffs in baseball. In fact, the group was so strong, the Blue Jays made the postseason, and there was a chance that Hyun-Jin Ryu wouldn't have been on the roster. So sticking to the status quo would be perfectly fine, but with Robbie Ray and Steven Matz testing free agency, the Jays have to go out and get some pitching, so they made sure that they got Berrios. Berrios will instead make $10 million a year for the first season of his 7-year deal. So Toronto, trying to upgrade without taking on too many long-term contracts, George Springer and Berrios are now the only players with guaranteed deals beyond 2023. The team would like to maintain flexibility, even though they've got the young stars in Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and Bo Bichette. So they're trying to get Robbie Ray back. They're trying to get Marcus Stroman on a reunion with Marcus Stroman. They're trying to get Kevin Gausman. They're trying to get Clayton Kershaw and Max Scherzer. Now, I know a lot of teams can say that. Okay? $13. We got a bidding war in the chat room. Mitchell Harson says $13 for Logan Webb. Logan Webb at $13. Now we got 15 by Brewer Jim. Mitchell Harson goes 16. Logan Webb had an outstanding year last year. Logan Webb, at the beginning of the season, Logan Webb wasn't even drafted. Logan Webb came on to have a tremendous year. How many think that Logan Webb can do it again? $16 by Mitchell Harson. That's what we're looking at right now for Logan Webb. And if you take a look at Logan Webb, you might be surprised. I mean, he's only 25. 11-3 with a 3.03 ERA. He had a 1.1 whip. He struck out something like 150. He pitched 148 innings. Had about 150-something strikeouts. Logan Webb, I would say that $16 is about right, okay? Chris Gallo says he did it for 1 year, so he's not bidding 16 on him, all right? I would say I would go 17. So I'm going 17 on Logan Webb, Mitchell Harson, and letting you get away with this. The question is, am I bidding him up, or do I really feel that 17 is the answer? 17 for Logan Webb. Anybody want to top me on that, Mitchell Harson? Not letting you run off with Logan Webb, okay? Whoo! So you got some interesting MLB trade rumors is predicting at least $130 million on their next couple of deals. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Toronto in the conversation for everybody. Okay, they should have upwards of $50 million to upgrade, which helps explain the recent report of aggressive pursuits of. They pursued Verlander, they pursued Syndergaard, none of whom required long-term commitments. Eddie Heckman. Oh, wait a second. The term paper was not about Mazeroski. So you got to write another one. Okay? Write another term paper. Was this high school? What grade was this in, by the way? I don't even think it was high school. Okay. So, crazy stuff. The market for starters is a game of musical chairs. There'll be so many options. The Jays they won't miss out entirely. Let's see what happens. American League players with 100 or more extra base hits, 350 on-base percentage, and 30 stolen bases. That's a great combination. 100 extra base hits, 350 on base, 30 stolen bases since 2018. Jose Ramirez, Shohei Ohtani, Mookie Betts, Mike Trout, Jose Altuve, and Robbie Grossman. Robbie Grossman may be the most underrated player in fantasy baseball. Robbie Grossman. Don't pass him up this year. He was good even in the Arizona Fall League. And, of course, once again, we're hearing from John Heyman that the Red Sox have made it very clear they would like to have Kyle Schwarber stay in Boston. The other team that is really making an effort to sign Schwarber are the Philadelphia Phillies. They now have Kevin Long, who was formerly the hitting coach of the Washington Nationals. And if you remember, Schwarber's OPS swelled. I mean, went through the roof while playing for the Nationals. and he was coached by Kevin Long. So let's see how that works out. The Dodgers are trying to bring back Corey Seager, but they don't appear to be making 100% because they could put Trey Turner there at shortstop. So I'm believing that Seager goes someplace else. The Dodgers have also shown interest in Seiya Suzuki. And if you remember, Mike Scioscia managed Suzuki in the Olympics. He believes that Suzuki's going to hit for power, has tremendous throwing arm from right field. It's going to be fantastic. So that's going to be a very interesting competition. And among the 50 pitchers who pitched 100 innings at night in 2021, the top 3 lowest xFIPs: Corbin Burns, no surprise; Garrett Cole, no surprise; Marcus Stroman. Wow. Stroman's really talking it up. Okay? Now, the Cubs have acquired Harold Ramirez from the Guardians in exchange for cash. Okay? Ramirez was one of 7 players. He was designated for assignment in Cleveland last Friday. The Cubs now have 38 players on their 40-man roster. He's 27, okay? In May of 2019, he made his mark. He batted .368, okay? .368. But then Miami let him go. So it's been a steady decline. He posted a .264 batting average. He has solid bat-to-ball skills, rarely walks, chases a lot of pitches outside the zone. He's got a 43% chase rate on pitches off the plate. So let's see what happens. So now the Yankees have gotten rid of Clint Frazier, Andrew Velasquez, and now Tyler Wade. The Yankees are trying to work out something. Okay? The Yankees, Jim has got to go. Okay. Or was it Eddie that has to go? Whoever's got to go, you got to go. Thank you all for being here, okay? If you got to go, you got to go. That's why I have an empty cup next to my desk. So Wade, who spent parts of the last 5 years on the Yankee bench, he a lot of speed. He stole bases throughout the year. We told you he did steal in the Arizona Fall League. Okay? So none of these guys are really fantasy players. So the Angels, of course, also rated the Mets pitching staff. Aaron Loop headed for L.A. on a 2-year deal worth reportedly $17 million. He's going to join Syndergaard. So now that the Angels have signed a lefty, another free agent gone from the Mets to the Angels. Loop's been pretty good. Here's a question for you. Who was the last free agent pitcher that the Angels signed to a multi-year deal? It was 2012. Who was the last free agent pitcher that the Angels signed to a multi-year deal? Woo! Give that one. That's a tough one. Let's see. Okay? All right. Joe Blanton is the... Oh, I gave that one away. The Marlins and right-hander Sandy Alcantara closing in on a 5-year deal. Alcantara really looks good. That's according to Craig Mish. When I saw him in the Arizona Fall League, he needed good coaching. No question, he was a top-of-the-line pitching candidate, but needed good coaching. So we'll see. We'll see. He's 26. He was acquired from the Cardinals alongside Zach Gallen in a 2017 trade that sent Marcell Ozuna to St. Louis. He's always been a hard-throwing sinker specialist. His strikeout and walk rates early in his career were pedestrian, at least. Let's see. Who's calling? Who's calling here? Hello, can I help you? What do you... Yeah, yes, good morning. Good morning. Are you a freaking idiot? Your IQ is the same as your voice level. 0. Okay. Alcantara finished 4th in Major League Baseball, 205 innings thrown, averaged 98. 98. It's going to be a good one. I'm telling you, Alcantara, another $15 pitcher in fantasy baseball. He had a 13% swing and strike rate, That was his career high. But I'll tell you what, it's going to be a good one. Now, the Orioles currently, I looked at their roster. They have no catchers on their 40-man roster. So remember when the Mets drafted Hobie Landreth, their number one pick in 1960? Hobie Landreth, a journeyman catcher. When Casey Stengel was asked why you took Landreth, he said, well, when the pitcher throws the ball, we need someone to catch it. The Orioles currently have no catchers on their 40-man roster. Kyle Zimmer, designated for assignment. Remember 30-year-old Zimmer? He was a mainstay on everybody's prospect list. Everybody's prospect list. They moved him to the bullpen. He's got an ERA of around 5. No good. Now, since 1980, only 7 starting pitchers have had a better ERA plus in their major league debut seasons than Barry Zito. Barry Zito. Remember him? Boy, did he fade out. Remember Barry Zito? No, it was Joe Blanton. Sorry, I thought I gave that away. Joe Blanton. The Red Sox, the Blue Jays, the Tigers, the Cubs, the Cardinals, Giants are in. All in on Steve. Everybody wants Steven Matz. Pitchers are coming off the board, and Steven Matz expects to sign by tomorrow. The Red Sox want him. The Mets want him by tomorrow. Unbelievable. Buster Posey is the 5th Comeback Player of the Year award winner to win it in his final career season. Mariano Rivera went Darren Dalton, John Tudor, Lou Brock. Okay, so those are some of the guys who won it. And that just about kicks things in the wall for the Nuggets and that kind of stuff. I will tell you one other thing, that there's going to be a flurry of moves, absolute flurry of moves. And one of the other moves I want to mention is that Nico Goodrum, who's going into his age 30 season, cleared waivers, elected to become a free agent. He was eligible for salary arbitration, so Nico Goodrum was waived by the Detroit Tigers. I know some of you had Nico. How many had Nico Goodrum on their fantasy team last year? Switch hitter, all right? But he hit more than 100 points better right-handed. But he hit 36 of his 42 home runs lefty. He struck out 32% of the time. So anyway, he was. And how about this one? For those of you who had Nico Goodrum, how many of you had Astudillo? The catcher for Willens Astudillo, the Spanish catcher from the Minnesota Twins. I'll tell you what, he surged early last year. Everybody picked him up. He was a heavy-set guy who just, he did what he could. Okay, in 216 plate appearances, 4 hit by pitches, 3 walks. Batting average was .236. On base was .259. He turned 30. Not somebody that we're calling fantasy relevant, but just letting you know what's going on. And here's my final Genius of the Day question. Name the active players with more home runs and stolen bases than Paul Goldschmidt. Okay? There are 2 active players with more home runs and stolen bases than Paul Goldschmidt. One is Mike Trout. Who was the other one? Okay? 2 active players with more home runs and stolen bases than Paul Goldschmidt. Mike Trout is one, okay? White Sox Gal is the other. Rotorius. A sincere thanks, everybody. We're not done yet. Not done yet. Greg, Chris, DK Luce, just saying hello to everybody. Eddie Heckman, Chris Gallo, King Hap, Call Me Later, Malpal, Mitchell, Merrill, Robert C., Rotorius, Star Dog on Oli Toledo, White Sox Gal, Zelmo should be arriving. We're all here. Not Pujols. More home runs and stolen bases than Paul Goldschmidt. This is a good one. And I'm surprised Malpal didn't get it. And ladies and gentlemen, his wife just let him go. He ran away to get to the chat room. Let's hear it for Georgie boy. And he's gone. His wife found him. Hey there, Georgie boy. Yeah, Robert C. gets it. Good morning, Robert C. It is Justin Upton. 324 home runs, 151 stolen bases. Fantastic. How about that, George? How about that? All right. Arizona Fall League may be done, but we get a big kick thanks to Brewer Jim and for letting us, well, actually, it was James Caplion, who reminded me how much fun it would be to look back at the Arizona Fall League. And next Wednesday, you will be able to hear on demand the Lady and the Legend on Sirius Radio as we do the Arizona Fall League recap. It'll be chock full of everything. Now, in 2016 in the Arizona Fall League, and remember, just because you perform well doesn't mean you're going to be a star. Gleyber Torres batted .403, 62 at-bats. Okay, he became a good player. He's a good hitter. Can't comment on his feeling. Bellinger, .314. Brandon Dixon hit .333. Brandon Dixon, involved in a couple of trades. Jacoby Jones hit .329. Harrison Bader hit over .300. And how about this one? Remember how good we thought Nick Gordon was going to be? He's still not playing. He batted .346 in 81 at-bats. I will tell you to keep your eye in Washington. I had him on my Tout Wars team this year. Andrew Stevenson, who batted .352. I liked him when I saw him. Okay, Kevin Cron hit only .188. Tim Tebow, .194. Now, I talked about Franchi Cordero before anybody did, along with Craig Mish, okay? We talked about Cordero only hit .203 in 74 at-bats. And Greg Bird, who hit home runs in the Arizona Fall League, but he only had a batting average of .215, a sign of things to come. For home runs, the leader in 2016 home runs, he's still playing. His name is Brian Anderson. He only had 5. Mitch Garver, who 2 years ago emerged as a pretty good player. We don't know what to make with Mitch Garver, but he was splitting time at catcher. The question is, how much are we paying for Mitch Garver? How much do we pay for a catcher who could hit you 25 home runs, but is he going to get the at-bats? Will Mitch Garver get the at-bats? If Mitch Garver gets off to a slow start, he may not get the at-bats. Don't forget, Minnesota's got a catcher named Ryan Jeffers. So, tough to take Garver. Will anybody spend double digits on Mitch Garver? Anybody? Okay? Not many. Kathy Garver played Sissy on Family Affair. That Big Al on the prowl is here. Morning to the Big Al. Nice that you could make it. Great to see you. That's the truth. I know it's not easy to get here, but when you get here, I love you. Travis, I don't even know how to pronounce. Bradley Zimmer, by the way, had 4 home runs. Only batted .257. Verdugo, 43 at-bats, no home runs. Tebow, 62 at-bats, no home runs. And Miguel Andujar, 67 at-bats and no home runs. The big stolen base guy, Stevenson, had 9. Bradley Zimmer had 8. Is Bradley Zimmer going to get a chance to play? If he does, he'll steal bases. I don't know if he's getting it. This is his last year. Anthony Alford had 8 stolen bases. I like him. Look out for Anthony Alford. I do believe that Anthony Alford has the potential to be a sleeper pick. We know he can run. He showed me that in the Arizona Fall League. He's still an outfielder from Pittsburgh. He's 27. This is it. He had 5 steals last year. He batted about .230. This could be his last year, okay, for Anthony Alford. And who's his competition? Of course, we don't know what Pittsburgh intends to do, but I think they're going to give Alford a big chance. The outfield now in Pittsburgh, you got Brian Reynolds, who may be traded. You got Ben Gamel. You got Cole Tucker. Greg Allen, who led the league in stolen bases with 12, the switch hitter. Cole Tucker, everybody's waiting for him. They lost Chisugo as a free agent, so keep an eye out for Anthony Alford. Now, Ian Happ had no steals in 72 at-bats. Eloy Jimenez had no steals in 55. And Bellinger, in 70 at-bats, had no stolen bases. There you go. Everything else you want to know, we'll tell you tomorrow. That's right. We'll be back tomorrow. And don't forget, Thursday morning, I'll be here. Only because I'm here. Okay? Only because I'm here. All right? There you go. Just a couple other things. Oakland is really shooting for the moon in their early talks about Matt Olson. So we'll see what happens. You know, in the past 25 years, 20 home runs in a season off left-handed pitching, Matt Olson, right, has done it. Raisel Iglesias would work. The Phillies need 2 outfielders and a starting pitcher. The Phillies are looking for, in addition to Kimbrel, I found out this morning, they're looking at Josh Hader. Okay? It would require a haul, but I just think they're just putting it out there. And finally, the American League leader and the National League co-leader in triples, 2021. Both made pitching appearances. How about that one? Shohei Ohtani and David Peralta. So Peralta pitched. First time that leader in triples, both of them, appeared as a pitcher. Okay, do I owe you a trivia answer to anything? I don't think so, but what I do think is I'm thanking everybody for your support. And yes, we will be back tomorrow, and I will be here on Thursday. So thanks, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving if I don't speak to you.